going on, fellas? We're about to see my gloves burst into flames. You see that? Just the radiation alone coming out of that foundry caught them suckers on fire almost instantly. And they're leather welding gloves. So, definitely gonna need some special gloves for this. Welding gloves ain't gonna do it. Shit. Mayday. Alright guys, the goal of today's experiment is to evaluate something called adiabatic flame temperature. Now, some things claim that diesel fuel and waste oil has an adiabatic flame temperature in the 4,500 degree range, which I don't believe that. So today we're going to prove that you can't get temperatures higher than propane on a foundry or forge using waste oil or diesel. It's just something about the way you can get propane to burn, even though it has a lower adiabatic flame temperature than these things specified anyway, but it's still, I can never get it to go higher. Waste oil is the coldest fuel that I've ever burnt as far as I know. I'll have to look into that. It might have been ethanol actually. I think ethanol was right around 1800 degrees too. I'll double check those specs, but for the most part, that's what the subject of this little test is. We're going to see what the temperature of propane is, which maxed out at 2,666 degrees or 2,663. And then we have, we're on the board, 2,613 degrees was our max temp using diesel fuel. Huge savings in money here. With diesel fuel, we use about a half gallon. So you're looking at like $1.50, whereas I ain't done the math on the propane yet, but it'll put a hole in your wallet quick. Can't really see it very well with the lighting doing all this, but I'll give this a try. I painted some of that HT100 onto this metal exhaust port, but it's not sticking. So that does kind of answer the question, does this stuff stick to metal? That's going to be a negative. Got our tank ready. Got our water pan, as Cody suggested. So this was his suggestion, and it's a damn good one. Very simple, nothing major. Basically that tank, the bottom of that tank is always going to stay above the freezing point of water, especially now that I'm letting it sit in the sun here. So that will keep the propane inside boiling and give us that vapor pressure that we need. Cody, if that was you, brother, right on. I'm going to give this a try. You're the crawdad cooker, right? Or what were you cooking? You were cooking something every day. Like 10 minutes. We're at 2,501 degrees, 2,512 degrees, 15 minutes in. Right on, Cody. I had to stop the test after an hour, but this is what we started out with, 10:30 to 11:30, and we were steadily increasing in temperature. We stopped the test after 1 hour at 2,663 degrees. We ended the test at 27.2 pounds on the propane tank, and that was our start. So that's where we are on that, and we'll take a look at this. Okay, fellas. So this is what we came up with. This stuff here fell out of the crucible. The black color is because, once again, all the graphite melted out of the silicon carbide. We got nice and liquid down there. What happened was, the second I grabbed the crucible out of the foundry, my gloves caught fire. They started to smoke instantly. You can see how it just wrinkled them. See that wrinkle? That wrinkle wrinkled up against my skin and got really hot. And I had to abort. So I did my best to dump it out. And had I been able to instantly pick it up and bring it over and pour it out onto the metal I was going to pour it on, we would have been good. But it started to burn me so badly I had to set it down twice, and it wasn't able to cool down a little bit. And that resulted in a bad pour. So this thing is still so hot that it's burning my face. Some of the HTC 100 has popped off of there. See, we're flaking down there. It doesn't like being open. It's starting to pop and crackle. But nonetheless, I'm going to post this footage. Had we let this thing just go and go like they typically do, the temperature would have continued to increase. We need to get an insulated blanket around that thing. But for now, what we're going to do is run the same test. We're going to pour up another batch. We're going to put more in the crucible this time so there's more to dump out. I lost a huge glob. I lost a little bit more than this globbed off of my probe and fell into the floor of the foundry. So I'm going to not mess around with the dipping so much. I was trying to show the camera how in about 8 minutes we had a molten pool of glass. But for the most part, I want to be able to get a pour. I want you to see a liquid pour coming out of this crucible. I think I'm out of propane at the moment. We're going to try this on diesel. The temperature to beat in 1 hour is 2,663 degrees. We were using this device, which, as you can see, is taking a beating. What I think I'm going to do is take some silver tape. If I have any left, nope, I used it all on Carlos. This thing is not up to the task. It's probably good for taking temperature readings from a distance, but That's how hot it is, guys, being within arm's length of this thing. Set your gloves on fire and melts infrared thermometers. All right, fellas, the diesel test is already done. I just don't have time to edit the footage right now. So you're gonna see that in the next video, and then we're gonna do waste oil last because everybody claims it's the hottest. I totally disagree, and I really hope that I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong for the sake of the 150 gallons of oil that I have. But other than that, it'd just be so much cheaper on Sean and his group if we could go with waste oil, and we need extra heat anyway. So let's hope for the best in the waste oil. We're gonna have to order a blanket. We're losing too much heat to the ambient surroundings. The casing of that thing's getting up to 600 degrees. So if we insulate that off, you know, who's to say we won't get 600 degrees more on the internal temperature? I don't know. We'll see. But that's it for today. I'm tired of editing, man. I can't do it.